You guys, I am so sorry. Oh my gosh, I am super super sorry. Um, I hope and pray you guys can get back in here. If not, I'm still going to do this video because I definitely want to. It definitely needs to be addressed because there is just something that really needs to be said about the fact that like men can just be totally kind of out there and just be really trashy, and no one is like able to check these men. You know, men also just don't run with the real I think on average, like a lot of men just don't want to have responsible conversations with their boys. It is what it is. Hey, Iron, you're back. So, Iron, this conversation, right? Boyaga is a dark skinned male. We are always seen as a threat, so they choose a more palatable image of woman and child. Love that. Boyega Boyega also said something in regards to uplifting, like our men uplifting our women. And notice in the crowd when he said that, right? The people that were really yelling and applauding were females. Iron, why don't more men hold men accountable? Can we talk about that for a second? Like, can we really talk about that for a second? I would love to. I would really love to talk about that. Can we talk about why men do not? Oh, let's get the likes up. We got to get our whole vibe back going. We were going strong. Oh my gosh, we were going really strong, and then sorry, my like I said, I'm going to be apologizing probably for the next couple of weeks until I get everything really situated with my Wi-Fi and my data. Apathetic, but apathetic towards other men. But when these females are doing it, there's no apathy there. They're all, oh, these women are all, gold digging type of. Let me tell you what I've experienced. Okay, so you said, oh, let me read this. I am a minister, and part of what I teach is that man must be the leader in all facets. I agree. And even if this just conversation ends up being me and you today, that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. So in regards to that, that's a minister and that's what you're teaching, and you are in the scope of your ministry teaching that. But men, I think, as a collective, that aren't getting that message. Men as a collective aren't getting that message, and um, this is odd. This is hard. But I just don't think, I think men want to lead at what they want to lead at, and it's not about being impactful. Like I remember, this was the saddest thing, y'all. But I remember, you know, when I would go out with men, okay, when I would go out with men, I would literally give them the money because, hey, Eden, yes, sis, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Remember you from yesterday? We were having some great conversation. Thank you for joining. You glow, girl. Thank you for joining, and thank you for subbing. I always really appreciate that when people really do come through and they not only sub, but they like, they share, they get involved as as my moderator would say. I hope that she can make it back in the room. My moderator, Diamond Princess. We're always talking about just being involved, not just being kind of a standby subber. But Eden says, because many men are conditioned to believe that women are responsible for men, especially concerning the things that determine the overall quality of men's lives. Oh, what? Eden, oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. We lost our only man that was in the room. So I crashed. I was on earlier and everything crashed, but we're now picking back up. So guys, as we pick up, please get these likes up. Absolutely. Because this is now coming through as a brand new fresh live since my other one crashed. So make sure we get these likes up. And if you are not subscribed, subscribe. Make sure you share these videos because we're going in today. I literally only have about a half hour more to give everyone, to give the time to this. But I'm glad that God did what he did. Thank you, Eden. What he did and cut the other cut me off so he could remind me, hey, let's get back into this other conversation because this is where you wanted your bread and butter to be. And this is where I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be right here, right now, in regards to the conversation of why aren't men being held accountable by other men? Like, how is it that these men end up with like such trash friends? I'm going to tell you, just to be very honest and be frank, because y'all know that's the only way I do it. So when I was in my married day, let me be very clear. When I was in my married day and I was not being a faithful wife, I had a couple of friends that knew how I was getting down. And let me tell you, they stopped hanging around. They weren't going to continue being friends with me while I was getting down how I was getting down. Bottom line, just like, they were not comfortable with knowing how I was moving and maneuvering. They weren't comfortable with it. They weren't cool with it. So I say all that to say this, that it really does make a difference what type of people you have in your network. And that's why I said, even with this, and y'all, I'm sorry, I'm just watching my time, but even with this channel, it is very important for me to grow it organically with people a network of people that we can be accountable, we can be intentional, and we can be constructive with one another. Like, that is so important to me. When I'm in these other chat rooms, I'm looking at who is saying what and what they're saying. And I'm not looking for people that just want to, throw out bombs and be divisive. I'm looking for people, as the illustrious pastor from Atlanta's Church of Hope would say, that are into building circles, not drawing lines. Let's be all inclusive and supportive and embodying this together. Let's not just say, okay, what can we do to show, hey, this is what my boundaries are, but how can we incorporate and engage with one another? Do men have those type of friends? Because I listened to Stephen, and this was month before everything happened with George Floyd. So I applaud the brother and what he is doing to make sure that his that his friend gets continual elevated regard. But Stephen Jackson was saying some real trash stuff for months prior to this George Floyd murder. Can we talk about that? And can we be honest? Just some real trash stuff. And then to cap things off with him talking about how, he didn't want to get married, or he wasn't going to get married without the prenup, and how the woman was really trying to be manipulative to make him marry her without the prenup. He says he slept with, one or maybe even a couple of the bridesmaids that were the lady's friends. And his point to share that, say, oh, what type of friends are those? You need better friends. Bro, what type of friends do you have that told you that that is what you should be? Like, that's cool. Because I'm sure all of those people that were in there telling you don't get married, I'm sure they knew when they saw that you were taking up a couple of the bridesmaids back to the room. You said that y'all all went out. Y'all all went out. So, hello. Hey, Monica. This is my moderator. Amen. And my bestie. A town stomping up in here. Um, so what kind of trash move is that? What type of trash move is that when these friends, you got solid friends. Hey, Swarty, it's okay. You're right on top of a very Wi-Fi, um, ooh, a very Wi-Fi heightened area, and everybody is pulling and tethering, and just it eats up a lot of my battery. It eats up a lot of my power, and my live crash. So you're just in time. So welcome, but with the same breath that he sat up there talking about how his ex fiance had trash friends because they slept with him on the night that was supposed to be their wedding night. They slept with him. You're not talking about those trash friends of yours that knew you were about to sleep with your ex-fiance's best friends, and no one had anything to say in regards to, hey man, that's kind of whack, right? Because I know that you just like you could sleep with anybody. Like, we were just out at the club. So what type of foolishness, what type of friends are those? And I think this still goes back to the whole conversation that we're having in regards to men being leaders and challenging one another to do so. Let me tell you, y'all know I always have stories to share. So the dude that I was engaged to prior to me becoming, single and celibate, he had a circle of friends that every Tuesday they would call it something like, I don't want to be too graphic, but I want to, give justice to the conversation. But they would call it something like New Titty Tuesday or something like that. And they would be circulating these pictures of girls, topless and breasts. And y'all, trust me, I was never impressed with his friend network to begin with, but I didn't find this out until maybe about a month or two prior to us breaking up. But I said, how is it that we go to church on Sunday, and you're always talking about how much respect you have for your mom and women because your mom took on that brunt when your dad, had bipolar, and he had to be, not institutionalized, but he had to live like in an assisted living facility because he had such issues for a little bit, and his mom really took on the brunt of raising him and whatnot. How do you have all this respect for women, but you and your friends circulate this type of media every week? Because I found out about it late, but apparently this went on the whole time that we were together for 3 years. And I think that he just never wanted to admit anyway that his friends just were like, they were trashy friends. Like, he was just like, his rationale for still being friends with his friends is saying that we've gone through everything together. We've had to help, one get off of, cocaine. We had to help one. We had a really big gambling problem. I had to help one when he got, caught up in a bad situation with, cheating on his wife, and had, was in this other city with these strippers, and I picked him up. Like, all of this was like, to them, or to him rather, I won't say to them collectively, but all of this was to him reasons of why they were good friends. But I didn't hear any type of good advice going on in any of that. And when I said to him, why don't you be the friend that says, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't be getting involved like that. Like maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Like when I suggested to him to be the moral compass for his friends, you know what he told me? Y'all, you know what he told me? I don't want to be that guy. Somebody talk to me. Somebody talk to me. What does that mean? I don't want to be that guy. You know, and I remember telling this to my sister. I said to my sister what he said. And I said, you know, what does that mean? You know, and she said, what does that mean? And I said, I don't know. Like, what does that mean? I don't want to be that guy. So someone said to me, hey, Mark, now, would you be that guy with your friends? We're talking about holding Black men holding each other accountable, men holding each other accountable. Are you the type of friend that's going to interject some moral compass to the conversation? Or are you the type of friend that doesn't want to be that guy? And what does that guy mean? Because I promise you, my sister didn't know. My sister didn't know. I didn't know. We were very confused. What does that guy mean? So I actually took this same question to a friend of mine, my best friend, and she's a really smart Gemini queen. And she said, Courtney, he doesn't want to be the person that is like the downer. That's what she said. He didn't want to be the downer. He didn't want to be the person that was like, oh, you know, really? Oh man, this person that's like raining on the parade, so to speak. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on, bestie. Come on, A-Town stomping. Come on. He did not want to be that dude. He didn't want to be the hoes over bros guy. I guess he didn't want to be the simp. Would that be correct? Would that be correct, Mark? Black introvert, he didn't want to be the simp. Okay, you stand on principle. So would you be the one that would be offering up the moral compass? Or would you kind of just, to avoid an argument, to avoid being, you know, I honestly sensitive to that whole thing. The women are, because when I tell you, when I was doing my dirt, my friends got lost. I'm serious. I had two real running buddies. I had two buddies. I'm talking about I started doing my dirt. The one that I was in the dance group with, she held on a little longer. You know, I remember she took me to the studio a couple of times, and you know, I was sitting on the dude's lap, and the rapper that I was seeing at the time. And my ex-husband, he's ex now, but he ended up calling, and he was like, "Oh, where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm at the studio." And he was like, well, what time are you going to be home? And I said, you know, I'm not sure. And he was like, well, do you need me to pick you up? And I'm like, no, you know, I have a ride. And that was that. And she was like in awe. She was like, I can't believe you told him where you were. And I was like, why would I lie? Like, and she was like, you know what? She said, I remember my aunt used to say, there are two types of cheaters. There are the ones that hide everything they do and the ones that tell you what they do. And she said, I guess you're the, it's not like I told him, hey, I'm sitting in a dude lap and, you know, we was kissing before you go. Like, I didn't tell him that. I just said, I'm at the studio. Like, he knows that that's, you know, yeah, he knows that this is what he does. He knows that this is what I do. So Hope says, I have a friend who is like that. He basically sticks to his morals. He's a cool person, but won't be swayed by people telling him the kind of man he needed to be. Okay, and you know what, Hope, we have friends like that. Like we equally have, we have a mutual friend. We have mutual friends like that. So there are men out there that are like that. So that's why when I met this guy, it took me a while to kind of understand what was going on, because y'all, I don't like, that just wasn't what I knew of men. Even my dad was like, he had a friend that was growing up, he had a best friend that would come around, and he would kind of talk about his girlfriend in like a not so pleasant way, and my dad would be like, oh man, you can't be, she's nice, she's nice, she cooked for you, da 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 da, she's good, and my mom didn't care for the friend, because my mom, saw how he would like come around and use my dad to kind of be my dad would be his ear, he would just be unloading about this woman. And this woman, like I said, she wasn't the brightest of things, but this guy was not either. So the fact that she was with him was a blessing. And my mom didn't mind reminding him of that. So it came to a point where, like, when he would come over, my mom would just have to leave the room because my mom didn't want to get into it with him. But my dad would hold the toe. He would toe the line and still be like, hey, man, she's cool. So, I know men like that exist. My ex-husband was a very, quality, good dude, would always, would never be, talking bad about, his friends' wives with them and things like that, from what I saw. And, I saw a lot because, like I said, we were young in our marriage. So we hung, when we hung out together. That literally is what it was until, like I said, when he was going off to school. Or the classes, rather. But it seems like the younger years are the best years for that to happen. But I think with a lot of men, the younger years are when they have this whole distrust over men form. I mean, they have this whole distrust over women formed. Like, this becomes a bonding situation for men to talk about these women, and nobody seems to be checking them. And right down to, I remember there was this gentleman here years ago. Like I said, I only dated one guy when I lived in Georgia previously, like dated. But there was this guy who I dated, and he was so. I think for the most part, that's what has confused me the most, is just about relationships. And now, Swarty, I saw something showed up on here that I didn't see in my earlier commentary. The breakdown of the marriage. With my situation, it was more so, I want to say it was more so, there was a lack of attention You know, he was, like I said, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. He was a provider. He was resourceful. It was a lack of attention. So thank you. Nobody is holding them accountable at all. At all. At all, Slime Doll. Thank you, sis. You guys, let's make sure, let's get these likes up because we have a few people in here, but the likes need to be up. But yes, and as you can see, Slime Doll, you got that wrench, girl. Ah, ah, ah. So nobody is. We aren't, no one is holding them accountable because men and women. I've seen moms not hold these men accountable. I've seen sisters not holding them accountable. Did anybody see that show? I forget what it's called. I think it's called Looking for Love. It's based out of Atlanta. And there was a cute couple on there. I think Ashley was the girl's name. I forget the guy's name, but he ended up suffering a very he ended up suffering a disorder, like almost died, you know. And I remember when they were dating, and I said, I think the mom and the sister are going to be a problem because Ashley was really small and really cute and ready for love. Thank you, Swarthy. Ready for love. But Ashley was really small, petite, very cute, great personality. And these women just seemed like they weren't for it. So, yeah, you know, speaking of the moms, so when I ended up breaking up with that gentleman, when I left the engagement, and I literally left him the next day, but that weekend I went back over to get my items. I went back over to get my clothes. The neighbor said, "Oh, his mom got a U-Haul truck, and you know, he moved his stuff out yesterday." Y'all, this dude was in his 40s. His mom and him moved his stuff out. Where are all those boys then? Can we talk about it? Where are those boys then? You guys, it is storming. It's about to storm really bad. So this might drop too. But I'm going to ride this until it drops because, y'all, this conversation needs to be had, and it's so real in regards to why don't men check each other more? Like I said, and Hopi is in here too. She can agree. We do have friends that do that. We absolutely do. You know, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to give you a glower. Amen. I'm going to give you a glower, Swarthy. These moms, it can be a real issue. And like I said, I knew on Ready for Love when the moms met Ashley, and she was small and petite and had that great personality, and she's bubbling and she's this and she's that. Honey, the mom and the sister did not seem pleased. The dad seemed okay, but the mom and the sister did not seem pleased, honey. And so I wanted to, I never vibed with them. And so when everything happened and they were saying that it was things that she shouldn't be doing because they weren't married, you know, that she was just a girlfriend and she was not allowed to have the same access. And then when he came around, he supported his mom and his girlfriend. I mean, he supported his mom and his sister and not stood up his girlfriend. I was so over it. I was so over it, y'all. I've been single and celibate for 5 years. I've been single and celibate since that last relationship with the gentleman in his 40s, with the mama that was still treating him like a baby. And y'all, he was a 300-pound man, so it wasn't even no reason to treat him like no baby. You hear me? But and I don't want to do that with my son. I tell my son all the time. My son is nothing but 11, but I tell my son all the time, if your lady comes calling me, she's going to have an ally. I'm not going to be sitting around because I know you. I know you. I'm not going to be sitting around acting like you ain't do nothing. I'm not going to do it. And like I said, he's 11. But she did, Eden. She really did. She really did. And she just did not deserve it because that lady is all that. That girl, now that's a you glow girl. That is a you glow girl if I ever saw one. She popped. She had a light in her. She was beautiful. She I think, literally kind of played herself to even still take him back because she wasn't his first choice. So, Eden, she should probably join us on the UGC, huh? You think, sis? She could join us. And you guys, I think my kids are trying to cook something, so excuse the noise downstairs. But yeah, I say all that to say this, that, and even with all she had going for her, this dude still played her for his mom and his sister. His mom and his sister. I remember telling someone I used to date, because this was such a story. I'm going to save this for a story time because it's such a story. No, you know what? I'm going to tell it. So this dude I used to date in my Philly days, he didn't have a lot of money, and I had a little bit, this is before having kids. So y'all know I was all right. So he told me that he wanted to take his mom out for dinner for her birthday. And I was just like, you know what? I think that's a great idea, but I hope you're not telling me so I can help. And he's just like, well, I don't get paid until Friday. I think his mom's birthday was like in the middle of the week. And so he said, please just, a little bit of money just to help me take her out to dinner. And I said, okay. And he said, where should I go? I said, you should definitely go to Olive Garden. You get her this plan. You get her this menu item, and you can get the $5 bread, soup, and a salad deal. And it's the best for the pricing and what I'm going to give you to take her. It's the best thing for you. So guys, he calls me up about 10 minutes before his mom gets, to their house. And we lived a couple of blocks away from each other. So he said, yes, Dust Bucket. Girl, I feel all that energy. I'm going to give you some lights. Light your lights, sis. So he lived about 10 minutes away. He lived about a few blocks away. And so he said, my mom is almost here. I really want you to come with us. And I said, no, I can't afford to. Like, literally, I'm giving you what I can afford to give you to take her and you out. I can't afford to even go. And he was like, please, I really want you to be there. I think it would be just really disingenuous. It would be really dishonest if I'm there by myself. Like, I did this. Like, I want her to see us taking her out. And me being in my 20s, I thought that was so cute. Like, he wanted us to do it like as a couple. And so I was like, okay, so what I'll do is for him and his mom, I was using, my bank account. But for me, I would use my, joint bank account just for me. Let me tell y'all, I told him, right, to get his mom the Tuscan Feast. He was supposed to get the $5, bread, salad, whatever. And I was going to get the $5 bread, salad, soup, so we could both have all of, right? Y'all, Eden, I'm gonna give you a glow up for that. Thank you, sis. When the waiter came, bless my little heart. Thank you, sis. When the waiter came to take the orders, the waiter asked for the birthday, the birthday girl's order first. So that was his mom. His mom gave, her order. which was the Tuscan feast. As you know, I knew that was going to be because it was you get everything. You got lasagna, you got you got lasagna, you got the pasta, you got some type of meat in there. It's the best thing to do, the Tuscan feast. And I knew that's what she was going to do. When you go out for your birthday, you're going to get the best thing you can get, mostly. So when it got to him, mind you, he asked me next, and I said the $5. I said the soup and the breadsticks, then the salad, and then it got to him. He said, "I want what she got," and the waiter said, "Who?" Her, pointing to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, me." He said, "Nah, I want that Tuscan feast." Y'all, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. It's not your birthday. And furthermore, you're not paying. You're not paying, and it's not your birthday. But here's the kicker, y'all. Here is the kicker, because that's not even the kicker. The kicker is either